What's going on, faithful? Controversy in the Bay Area this weekend. All this drama surrounding Willie Snead IV. Looks negative on the surface, but I think there is loads of positive news out there surrounding this receiving corps to get excited about. Starting with Pro Football Focus's Dalton Wasserman painting an exciting picture about the San Francisco 49ers. If you're new here, I'm Nate, covering all things San Francisco sports, and it really does help me out if you hit that subscribe button. Well, in case you missed it, here's the tweet from Willie Snead IV. All I want is to go back to a team that isn't afraid to let guys compete for a roster spot. These last 3 years have been nothing short of entitlement. Competition breeds champions. Yeah, that was his point. Does he have a point? Possibly. Yeah, I mean, if you look at the roster, you look at who he's competed against. So highlighted here are all of the other wide receivers that made the 53-man roster with one exception. So you had Ayuk, of course, Debo, Juwan Jennings. We can assume those guys are not the guys he's thinking he should have outpaced. Ray, I put an orange there because Ray obviously is doing the majority of the returns. So, you know, that gives a different value to the guy. That's why he makes the 53 in a lot of ways as well. Conley didn't make the 53 initially, but he's kind of one of the ones that you'd say Willie might have been talking about because he's the one who got activated after the injury to, I'm blanking on his name. I don't have it in front of me. Somebody let me know in the comments who got injured in preseason last year, wide out. It was like fifth. I'd say WR5 maybe. Then Ronnie Bell, of course, these would be the two guys that you might say he could be kind of upset about this. I mean, the total number of targets, Conley gets 6, right? So maybe that's what he's upset about. Ronnie Bell gets a little bit more, and you go to the receiving side, or the returning side, excuse me. And you've got Ronnie Bell gets 10 punt returns, but really Ray is getting the majority of that, right? So I could see maybe an argument for Ronnie Bell or maybe Conley feeling like he should have got more time. How much time did he get, by the way? If you look, he was activated for those 4 games there, but only gets 2 targets in this first game there, and then 1 target in this game, totaling only 2 receptions. He, of course, has not been picked up by another team right now, so we'll feel different about it after. It's kind of one of those really tough things, especially for aging veterans, which he would definitely fall into that category. Was he good enough to make the squad? Do you just kind of write this off as like come on, man, sorry you didn't make the team? Or is he right? Is there some form of entitlement there? And maybe I would say there's probably a little bit of both, and I wouldn't call it entitlement. But yeah, when you give a guy big bucks, there's an expectation that he's going to play. If you draft a guy in the first round, he should play. Partially because it just makes sense, but partially because it also, becomes a huge waste if you draft a guy and he doesn't play. So anyway, the positive news, however, as I see it anyway, coming out was this Pro Football Focus talking about the draft and saying San Francisco 49ers are, at least for now, loaded with talent at wide receiver. Talking about the addition of Pearsall and Cowing, of course, on top of all of the other incredible weapons that I just listed off a minute ago. Pearsall, an ultra-reliable player who Kyle Shanahan will love to scheme open. Even after adding Pearsall, the 49ers selected another excellent slot receiver in Jacob Cowing, who leads the FBS with 3,263 receiving yards since 2021. He was one of the most productive receivers in this class despite a Tank Dell-esque form. The 49ers are loaded at wide receiver. That is, gotta love to hear that. It remains to be seen who will be playing in San Francisco in 2024. Now, as you may remember, of course, we got news from John Lynch right after the first round of the draft, I want to say. And then again, he said it on Pat McAfee's show that the 49ers are not going to be trading either Ayuk or Debo. The weird thing about that, and I do think that's his public position, and it makes a lot of sense in a lot of ways because that kind of paints the picture that the only trades they were willing to do would have been trades that have given them a first-round draft pick that land them that guy that they really think they need, which probably would have been an offensive tackle that maybe they couldn't have got up for otherwise, or weren't willing to give up what the other teams were willing or were asking for in order to get that guy, right? That's what makes the most logical sense to me in the first round. Let me know if you feel differently in the comments, though. What do you think makes the most logical sense? I don't think, this is my gut, that John Lynch actually is completely closed off to trading either of these guys. I think it's possible one of them goes. I hope not, honestly. I kind of feel like going into this season, it'd be great if you have all of these incredible weapons, and then you take guys like Cowing and Pearsall, and, Pearsall I think is going to get quite a bit more looks than Cowing, but Cowing we'll talk about him in a second. I mean, he's not a nobody. So he definitely will, I think he'll get some opportunities to get a lot of opportunities in preseason and training camp and all that good stuff. I think he probably makes the roster as well. So you're going to see the 53-man roster look pretty interesting this year. And the question really is then around guys like, that are left over from last year that may not make the team this time around. But moving on. I did also want to talk a little bit about just a reminder, one, about what people are loving about Ricky Pearsall. Led for Florida with 965 receiving yards, an average of 14.8 yards per catch, scoring 6 touchdowns, 2 of them rushing. Sounds like a guy I know. Debo. Ricky is a very versatile player, also has some punt return value that we think will come in handy. That's interesting there. Just think about that. That can play into how he gets. I mean, he's going to be on the roster in my opinion, but that plays into it for sure. And of course on the draft profile, just a reminder in case. We lost it there. So he's a fast guy. Had a great shuttle. And incredible route runner, right? If you look at like what his big thing is, he's a route runner. His I think I got it right here in the highlights. Yeah, this is from scouting report, right? Some people like him, but I really love this guy. Said one scout, really good route runner in a deep class. I could see him getting passed up. I don't think people put him in the conversation with the real guys when it's all said and done. However, he'll be one of the best receivers in the group. Ran the fastest 3-cone of any wideout this spring. He's faster. He's a faster Cooper Kupp. That's high praise. Now, Cowing, on the other hand, someone we got to talk about. We haven't really talked about yet on this channel. Cowing, on the other hand, he's lightning quick. I mean, I pulled up his 40 score just to see, and I mean, take Xavier Worthy out of the picture for a second because that's just freak fast. Oh, sorry, you can't see on the screen there. I mean, that's just, I don't even know how that happens, right? When you're watching the 40-yard dash, like, I don't know how you feel, but when I'm watching it, I feel like anything between 4.4 and 4.5 looks about the same to me. I'm not really noticing it. There's a difference here. You can notice that difference at 4.21. That's insanely fast. But yeah, coming in 5th in speed and not by a lot. I mean, this is a very, very fast individual. What do we know about him? Following the selection, Cowing spoke with reporters and revealed his admiration for a receiver within the division, Seattle Seahawks veteran Tyler Lockett, whom he's molded his game after. I've liked more things than hearing about a guy who's a big fan of a Seattle Seahawks player, but that's okay. As I'm growing up in my football journey, I looked at Tyler Lockett a lot. Cowing told reporters via Zoom, very similar in stature. I kind of resembled my game after him a lot. And he's a solid player. So if that's who he ends up turning out to be, that wouldn't be the end of the world. Some other things, though. I mean, this is a really interesting article on Cowing. Don't sleep on this 49ers day 3 pick. 49ers selection of wide receiver Ricky Pearsall in round 1. Yeah, makes all the waves, but the 49ers made another addition to receiving core when they selected wide receiver Jacob Cowing with the final pick of the 4th round. Cowing's 5'8", 106. Well, actually, I'm just going to, you know what? I'm going to read his actual quote because I highlighted that too. In 2023, the 5'8" 3/8", 163-pound Cowing had 6 receptions on passes of 20 or more air yards on a team where the deep ball wasn't a feature. His tape shows a lot of speed potential, and in today's NFL, teams are less concerned with smaller receivers given the use of motion and multiple deployments to keep them open and away from bigger, more aggressive defenders. A lot to like about this guy. Definitely some downsides out there in all of the scouting reports. But you know me, I like to look at the positives right now. I'll take the downsides when we see it on the field. I don't really need to hear about the mistakes he made in college. I want to look at what the upside is because I believe in this administration. I believe that these guys can get the very best out of their players. So I'm going to look at the positives because I think that's what Kyle Shanahan and company are going to get out of them. All that being said, I'm super pumped about OTAs. I'm really excited about training camp, getting into this next season, and I'm excited to be doing it all with you. So make sure that you're subscribed to this channel so that you don't miss out on any of the breaking news as it comes out. All of the most interesting storylines and commentary, you know that we'll be covering it here. As always, 49ers, whew, what a time to be alive.